Nutrition is an important part of everyone's life. I think we can all agree on that. It's our source of energy. It's where we get our nutrients. It's essential, so we need it to live. This is where the term food is fuel came from. But it goes a bit further than that. It's culture. It's tradition. It's even socialization. This is how we socialize with our peers and with our family. Growing up, I was eating rice and beans on a regular basis, and I would have just amazing meals like enchiladas and mole. And, when I try to replicate these meals that my mom makes, it makes me so happy to share it with my kids, because I know we're all biased and we all think our moms are the best cooks, but my mom is the best cook. So when I can replicate these meals that I find so delicious and I can give them to my kids, I hope that they can give them to their kids and share that same feeling. And while we've been cooking meat on fire since we were cavemen, nutrition is oftentimes made more complicated because of fads, detoxes, diet plans. So instead, what I like to do is I like to compare nutrition to strength training. Strength is a skill made up of a series of skills. For example, you can't just walk up to a barbell and deadlift 3 times your body weight. That's incredibly hard to do. And you need to master smaller skills that make up the deadlift. For example, you need to learn how to squeeze your stomach like a shield and breathe behind that shield. You need to learn how to coordinate your body together and move as one unit. You also have to develop the mental side. You need to develop discipline and mental toughness. You need to develop consistency so that your body becomes used to deadlifting so often so it could adapt to it. If you approach nutrition the same way and you view nutrition as a skill, I think it would simplify and make nutrition a lot easier for a lot of people. Strength training can be broken down into 4 basic categories, known as movement patterns. So you have push, pull, squat, and hip hinge. Pretty much any other movement that you can think of will fall into those 4 categories, like rotating, flexing, extending, right? For example, you can push like this, you can push like this, or you can push like that. With food, it works the same way. You can break this down into categories. For example, you have carbohydrates, you have protein, and you have fats. If you add water in there, that's 4 categories, and you're pretty much, in regards to nutrition, living and thriving. All of these categories pretty much have 2 subcategories. So proteins can consist of meat sources like chicken and non-meat sources like beans. With carbohydrates, you also have 2 categories, which are broken down into complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. And this is actually very easy. We know this by heart. In our hearts, we know which one is which, even though it sounds complicated. So a simple carbohydrate is a simple sugar, like Snickers. Whereas a complex carbohydrate is more nutrient dense, like broccoli. So what's better for you, Snickers or broccoli, right? I think we all know the answer to that. Fats could also be broken down into 2 main categories: saturated and unsaturated fats. Now this is also a pretty easy distinction. Saturated starts with S, so that means it'll be a solid, like butter or avocado. Whereas unsaturated fats will be in liquid form, so not solid, such as avocado oil, olive oil. Those 3 categories, with the addition to water, are pretty much the meat and bones to nutrition, no pun intended. If you can get those 3 categories into your diet with its varieties, for example, for protein, don't just eat chicken every single day, but eat chicken, steak, eggs, tofu, beans, lentils. And you can find this all online. There are lists and endless of lists that you can find on Google. But if you can get those in, your diet is going to be very well-rounded. A lot of people already have this information though and still struggle with their nutrition. And that's because knowledge doesn't necessarily mean application. So I have a suggestion for you. When I was an intern in college, I worked at a gym called TNT Fitness Results, and they had a partner gym called TNT Performance. And together, they made something known as the TNT 10 Commandments. And in my opinion, this is the most simple way to apply those categories. So I'll read them out here just right now. Number 1, drink 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water daily. Number 2, consume 2 whole fruits daily. Number 3, increase omega-3 intake and eliminate hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. Number 4, consume 4 cups of vegetables daily. Number 5, consume carbohydrates, rice, pasta, bread, cereal, etc., which contain 1 gram of fiber for every 50 calories. Number 6, consume 1/3 to 2/3 of your body weight in grams of protein daily, possibly more for some athletes. Number 7, train for a specific goal 4 to 6 times every 7 days. Number 8, get 8 hours of sleep daily, including naps. Number 9, use supplements to aid in following commandments 1 through 8. Number 10, keep a journal for commandments 1 through 9. Now, I absolutely love this because it is pretty easy to memorize. I read it off my phone so I can tell you guys word for word and not risk messing it up. But basically, if you notice, each number on the list also coexists or correlates with the description and the guideline set for it. For example, number 1, drink 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water. So you can remember 1/2, right? Step number 1, you try to get 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water, right? That makes sense. Number 2, a bit more obvious, consume 2 whole fruits daily, right? So when you think of your list of 1 to 10 and you're trying to remember what to do each day, go through that list. Number 1 is 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water. Number 2, oh yeah, I need 2 fruits each day. Number 3, increase your omega-3, which is pretty much healthy fats, and you can get that through supplementation. Number 4, same thing, 4 servings of vegetables. Number 5, same thing, 1 gram of fiber for every 50 calories. The number 5 is in the description, so it's just kind of easy to remember. Not so obvious, but when you're going through the process of elimination, I think it's easy to figure out. Number 6, 1/3 to 2/3 of your body weight in grams of protein daily. Now, I don't know if they intended to do it this way, but this is how I remember it. But basically, 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. And if you put them together, that makes number 6. Okay, it's not so obvious, but that's really the only one that isn't super obvious. Because number 7 is train for a specific goal 4 to 6 times every 7 days. Same thing, the number 7 is in there. Number 8, get 8 hours of sleep each day, 8. Number 9, use supplements to aid in the following commandments 1 through 8. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 10, keep a journal for commandments 1 through 9. 1 plus 9 equals 10, right? So a little math there, but it's not too difficult. And it's an easy way for you to memorize all these so you can apply it each day. So this list of 10 commandments, I'd compare it to as individual skills in an exercise. Just like we talked about in the deadlift, you need to learn how to squeeze your stomach. That's one skill. Then you need to learn how to breathe with your stomach tight. That's another skill. Then you need to learn how to grip the bar and coordinate your muscles working together. That's another skill. So the TNT 10 commandments, each individual one is hard to do if you haven't done them yet. So it takes time to learn and gain that skill. So my suggestion is to take it on either a weekly or bi-weekly basis, meaning either start from 1 and work your way down, or start at the bottom at 10 and work your way up, so that you tackle each individual skill 1 or 2 weeks at a time. So you can start with drinking water for 1 to 2 weeks and try to make that a consistent habit. Once it becomes second nature and it becomes a habit, then you can move on to number 2. And same thing, spend about 1 to 2 weeks there or longer. There's no, time limit on this thing. You have your whole life to master nutrition. Then you can move on to number 3. When you feel good, you can move on to number 4, and so on. But if you feel getting water in is a bit more difficult than starting a journal, right? Because you might just like writing, so starting a journal might be easier. Then you can start at the bottom, start with a journal, and work your way up. Then move on to number 9 and try to see if you need supplementation in your current diet to help assist with the rest of the skills. And then you can move on to number 8 and try to get consistent 8 hours of sleep, and so on. Just like strength training, I wouldn't recommend anyone to increase their reps, increase their sets, and increase their weight right away. I also wouldn't recommend you do the 10 commandments all at once. Work up to it. There's no rush, and you want to build these habits little bit at a time so you can stay consistent and so that it's sustainable for the long term. So I hope that blew your mind, because when I first saw that, my head exploded. I was pretty impressed and excited to talk about nutrition to the people I'm working with. And because you're journaling, your first instinct might be to do something like tracking calories. And while that's okay, I also want to offer a different solution. Because the goal is to make this as realistic and as sustainable as possible, and because food is meant to be enjoyed and a form of socialization with your friends and family at the dinner table, the last thing you want to do is whip your phone out to track calories and isolate yourself. So my suggestion is to use a hand method that I learned from Precision Nutrition when I went through their nutrition course. The hand method is super simple and very easy to apply to your journaling. Basically, you use your hand to quantify the serving that you're about to eat. For example, your palm size is a serving of protein, and a fist is a serving of vegetables. A cupped hand is a serving of carbohydrates like fruit or starchy carbs like spaghetti. Then you have your thumb, which is a serving of fats. So when you're going through the TNT 10 Commandments, and for example, let's say you're going through number 2, which is eat 2 servings of fruit, you can use cupped hands as your serving sizes. So if you have a banana and it fits in the cup of your hand, that's a serving size, and now you just want to get one more in that day. When it comes to body weight training, we fully understand that having a lower body fat percentage will help us with body weight exercises like pull-ups and dips. So when you're journaling, you might be more attracted to calorie counting so you can see the numbers going up or down. However, I would still suggest you use the hand method and the TNT 10 Commandments with the addition of 2 different skills. And these 2 different skills are internal cues that you should learn for long-term progress. Just like you need to learn what your body is telling you when you're strength training. For example, if your body is just fatigued and exhausted and it's asking for a rest day, you need to give it that rest day. Otherwise, you're asking for injury. So these internal cues that I'm about to tell you are going to help you understand your body more to see long-term results. Additional skill number 1, and that's to eat slowly. It takes your body time to register that it's full. So if you eat very quickly, you can consume a lot of calories. However, if you eat slowly, it gives your body some time to process all of this food and information that you're getting full. Additional skill number 2, and that's eat until you're 80% full. When you're going through the TNT 10 Commandments, use the Precision Nutrition hand method to serve yourself those servings. But don't force yourself to finish all of that. Just eat until 80% full. And if that's too difficult, eat until satisfied. Because every day is different and you'll have different factors that are affecting your appetite. You want to eat until 80% full each day and not be so fixated on numbers, because then you might be eating more than 80% or you might be eating significantly less than 80%. Instead, use the guidelines as guidelines and don't necessarily use that as a Bible. Even though it's called 10 Commandments, it's not something that you need to follow to a T. It's a guideline, it's a start. And that way you can start to Mix and match how much and how little servings you need of a specific thing to feel your best and to overall perform really good in the gym. Everyone is different and everyone is going to respond to nutrition differently. That's why all these diets and fads stem out of nowhere, because one person saw results from it and now everyone thinks that's the magic cure. But you are, I guess, responsible for your own individual gains. So this is a great start, but it's not the final result. It's something to get you to learn different habits and build the skill that we are calling nutrition, and overall just get a better understanding of your body. So to summarize, use the TNT guidelines to get started with your nutrition, and use the Precision Nutrition hand method to help you apply those 10 commandments. If you're trying to lose weight or fat, use an additional 2 skills of eat slowly and eat until 80% full or satisfied. I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know, and I'll see you next time.